into your account and say close out.
Yeah,
There's a
no, I
button
did.
for it.
I did not and would not do that.
Yeah. So basically, you can pick up from where we left off, but that's a different thing. So
Right.
okay, let me get in. Join
But one
game.
thing I did learn in solo play is that
Uh-huh.
I finally have trains figured out.
Yeah, I
Nice.
think you
I know
said
how,
that last time, but
but I think even more so. Like now, what I was able to do this time is that I know how to make trains go back and forth on the same rail, as opposed to doing the silly looping that I had to do. I might even be tempted to redo all the railroads so I don't have to do stupid looping stuff anymore. But we'll see. The only thing I haven't toyed with yet is bi-directional tracks, but I think I have that figured out too. I just haven't had a need to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll at least play Satisfactory this the rest of this week, and then
See where we go from there.
yeah, maybe next week, but for sure, I think by the time we hit February, it'll be Liza P time.
Yeah.
I also have decided that I won't do 14 on stream, at least not until there's a PC release. And even then, I'm wondering if I should
you
if
mean
I
16.
You mean 16.
no, I meant four. I meant seven actually. God damn, I'm so stupid.
Oh,
I meant
you're talking
seven.
Rebirth.
Yeah, I
Rebirth.
meant
Okay.
yeah, I meant rebirth.
Okay, well, I thought you meant the other Final Fantasy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Eddie, I'd probably say 16 is going to happen before Rebirth hits
yeah,
PC.
and you know what? And actually, on that topic, I will gladly do 16 on stream
If
if
it
once it
ever
comes
hits
on PC.
PC,
Yeah,
or whenever it does.
It'll probably hit PC as soon as the second DLC drops, because there was only two planned DLCs,
okay.
and one of which one has dropped, and a lot of people are really great about it. So everybody's waiting for the second one.
There's part of me that's tempted to even wait. Here's my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
There's part of me that goes, you know what? Maybe I should wait until the PC release of Rebirth and then stream that.
Oh, hey, we've had a hard drive sitting here.
Yeah, I just finished like a minute ago.
Okay, we have solid steel ingot, which is iron, coal, to
You're not properly streaming.
No, I'm not. We're still.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm purposely still in stream in warm up
Okay.
mode.
Well, it's like we're past 7. So.
And admittedly, the solid steel, because it just requires coal.
Yeah.
It's slightly better than the standard recipe. Slightly a bit faster.
Well, let's see. Regular just requires. Well, standard recipe requires a ton. 100 per minute. This provides 60 per minute, but
All the
don't know
recipes are
what's
better
more
than
efficient.
these alternatives.
Yeah. I iron alloy ingot is 50. It's less than our pure iron recipe.
I think it's technically more efficient but slower.
It
You
also
get a
takes up
higher
copper.
volume.
Yeah, but it takes up copper too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was still talking about the solid steel.
Okay. Sorry.
I
Yeah,
think
the
we're
iron
fine with
alloy
either one.
ingot is like.
Well, what about the third one? Turbo electric motor.
Eh,
That's again, we have a better recipe at this point already.
I think so, especially since it requires so much radio control units.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would vote solid steel.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, selecting. There we go.
I will make it a point at some point today to go more hunting for these, because it might be good if we just knock out the rest of the hard drive recipes and call it good.
We still have our Santa hat, so.
Yeah, the trees are still
Did
here.
you
They
finish the
aren't.
tree?
No, we've got like a couple things. We've got the stars left.
And there we go. Now we're live. Hi, everybody. That's
Hello,
factory time.
Fat Factory. I mean,
Our factory certainly is bloated. No lies detected.
I was going for a PH there, but I'll accept that answer as well.
Ooh, look, I want to make a friend. I'm gonna drop in on him and give him a snack.
Give him a snack, aka a Nobelisk.
Good boy.
Oh. I'll go with long name too.
Yep. Creative, I know. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna finish this battery light line, and then I'm gonna go do some hard drive hunting. So yeah, just like we discussed in the pre-roll, yeah, we 4 max more sessions of Satisfactory before we move on to Lies of P. And then
Mostly because...
yeah. Yeah, like I was saying before, like there's part of me that is tempted to wait until Rebirth comes out of PC, but I fear I will be spoiled and I won't like that. So I almost have to play it to avoid being spoiled.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, trying to go so we complete Phase 4 in Satisfactory is going to take so much, and I'll be honest, we should probably just set the game aside until, like, Update 9 or Update 10 for us to resume our play for Satisfactory. So it'd be best to, like, slowly mothball the factories. Or at least the stream factory. And then basically just move on to new game. Of which we oh god, did I mention that we finished stupid early Friday?
Yeah, I saw you post about it.
We beat the final boss half an hour in.
You didn't have a backup ready to go?
Well, here's the kicker in the deck. We were kind of stuck in the credits for an hour.
It took that long?
Well, it went through the, like, hyper backers, aka, like, the very, very select few that paid, like, $400, $500.
I know.
And, okay, so that took a bit. Then there was the super backers, which I was a part of. And we got to see my actual name on stream. I didn't point it out, but Kage did see it at the last moment going... Because I went like, oh, there's a horrible name right there. I didn't say it. And he's like, wait, oh, there it is.
Way to be cheeky.
But as soon as we got to the regular backers, that's when we were allowed to fucking speed up the credits.
Like, it locks you down?
I'm not quite sure if it was just a hiccup, or if it was an actual lock. So, I'm gonna say that it was probably a hiccup, I'll be honest. But
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. It would be nice that, hey, if you pay us $500, no one can skip your part in the credits.
admittedly, their part was like something over in like the first 15 minutes of the credits. So it's like, okay. Whereas the super backers, we had a very long list. And I'm pretty sure if we waited through all of the regular backers, it would have been about a 3-hour-long stream. Because there was a interlude in the middle of the list of backers.
A relevant interlude or just something fun?
Basically a character epilogue. all the characters got like a post story thing, and so it's like, okay, cool. I am not going to be doing any of the post game or new game plus stuff on stream. That is mine. You guys can go out and buy the game, get it downloaded on Game Pass, and play through it yourselves. Good luck with that. It is a good game. Heavily recommend it. It is exactly its price. It is worth every penny. But
Yeah, that's on my personal to-do list.
I would recommend it, Eddie. I'm pretty sure you could get through it in about a couple of personal plays, given how long you play on Satisfactory some days of the week.
Satisfactory is easy because normally I'll just let it go while I go do something else, come back, have my resources ready to go, and then move on. So it's easy with Satisfactory.
But as such, we're going to be moving on to the next game, which is not as RPG heavy. It's got RPG elements, I will agree, yes. But then again, it's also the spiritual, it's Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. So it's basically it's Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Nice.
Of which I'm also one of the backers on it. But I know for a fact that their credit screen is completely skippable, fast forwardable from the get-go. So
Just gotta show off.
Your purchasing decisions.
I mean, now I have to decide whether to do that backer kit for Armed Fantasia and Penny Blood, which I showed you, Eddie. Which are spiritual successors to Wild Arms and what was the one game that you really wanted to get, and when you finally got your hands on it, you got really stuck and pissed off at it? The RPG with the wheel in it, MTX?
Wheel?
PS2.
Oh, Shadow Hearts? No.
Yeah, Shadow Hearts. The team behind Shadow Hearts is doing a new RPG called Penny Blood.
Oh.
And the team behind Wild Arms and the team behind Shadow Hearts did a double Kickstarter where you could fund both games or one or the other via packages. So it's one of those like, cool. But I showed Eddie the link to the post-game backer kit to see if everything looked okay, or to double-check if you could discern, like, if I did do the post-game backer stuff, would I still get access to some of the backer options, like betas or things of that nature? Which...
Yeah, that kind of thing, I think, is what it says on the tin. You're buying, like, specific pieces, piecemeal.
Yeah. I'm not buying it, but it says, like, all... because, like, the wording on the thing says, like, all backers get access to the betas and Discord. But they don't get...
Where does it say that?
It's, like, in the very top section.
Of that same page where it lists out what you could buy?
Yeah.
That's
So it's one of those, like, I know I'm not going to be getting packages, but would I be considered a backer? Even though it's a Johnny-come-lately type backer thing?
That's iffy.
Yeah.
The way I normally read those things is that, no, you're not a backer.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just buying piecemeal after the campaign is over.
Yeah.
I mean, you would
It's
have
a different
to talk
thing.
to somebody who's invested in Star Citizen.
No, there you go.
There is a ton of that.
Yeah. Everybody that's like, but Star Citizen, it's like, no. So, as much as everybody constantly goes like, Star Citizen is amazing, it's like, no, I feel like...
Oh, it's amazing, all right.
I
But
feel like they've actually have achieved something with it, but it's still a thing of how many bridges have they had to burn to get there?
paint bridges.
Well,
Bunches. And so it's like, I look at it's a very visually impressive game, and that's where it kind of loses me, is that it's just mechanic and visual. There's no...
well, you do know the reason why Chris Roberts actually focused on that. Because the last couple of games he made for like his space games did not rely heavily on graphics.
Yeah.
So of course the solution was make it more about graphics, and he chose the worst engine possible
The Beyond
to
engine?
make a space game out of.
The Beyond engine?
No. Well, the thing is that Lumberyard, which is based off of CryEngine, technically is a very graphically well done engine.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not. It is the initial engine that they got, Lumberyard from Amazon, or like I think.
Yeah,
that's the
it-
case? Yeah.
Amazon Lumberyard,
for
yeah.
purpose for what they were trying to do with Star Citizen. There's in some ways, there's probably the most honest thing that he's ever done in regards to Star Citizen is him saying that he's willing to sell the engine that he's developed over time,
Mhm.
because arguably that's probably the most worthwhile thing from this,
Yeah.
because it probably is, let's face it, there's over 10 years of blood, sweat, and tears in development for that thing.
Yeah, I just remember discussing like Star Citizen with a coworker, and I go like, I've never seen anybody from their dev team at GDC. And the coworker goes like, who cares about GDC? Star Citizen is much better than that.
Oh shit!
And I was like,
I mean-
do you know what GDC is? And it's like, well, it sounds like a garbage thing anyway, but what is it?
Wow.
And it's like, the game developers. The entire...
Okay, so I think the person was ignorant. Okay, well, that's,
They, like, after I explained to them, they're like, it still sounds like a piece of garbage thing
Okay.
if they didn't attract the guys from Star Citizen. It's like, what?
wow. Oh,
I mean, thinking about GDC, it's not really meant for advertisement.
It's not advertising. And, because, like, we were talking about, because, like, the guy jumped in on a conversation about, like, people I've seen, or at least helped at GDC. And I've seen people from Niantic, Nintendo, Square, I think a couple of people from Riot Games, obviously. And it's like, these are very big names, and the other coworker, the one that was talking to me, asked me about, like, has there been anybody that you haven't met? And the only people at the time that I could think of was like, I have everybody from the people from Star Citizen. And obviously this person, like the other coworker who really didn't understand what the conversation was about, just keyed in on Star Citizen.
Enter the chat.
Yeah. And
I
It's
mean,
one of
that
those-
is the biggest problem for Star Citizen going forward, is essentially the mega fans that it has cultivated over the years. Being perhaps the worst.
I'm surprised you met one because I don't feel like I've ever seen any. I've never met anybody who was like a fan of what they're doing over there.
well, the one guy that I was speaking to, like, when I mentioned that, it's like, that's surprising that they didn't send anybody. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I just never met anybody, or the
Right.
fact that they just didn't. And then obviously the whole thing of like, oh, it sounds garbage. It's like, dude, this is a conference that's been going on for what? How many years now?
30 plus, I think. Easy.
hasn't been Ian doing it for
The whole time.
the whole time,
Yeah, yeah.
and as such, it's like, this is something that's older than most of the studios that currently attended.
Mm-hmm.
Most, not all, most.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the factor that, okay, with them having moving over to Lumberyard, it's like that was a big thing at GDC.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When they released that.
Yeah, that was a big deal. There was workshops and promotions and expo hall space dedicated to that.
Yeah, and I remember a lot of people saying like Lumberyard had the potential. There were obviously a few reservations from the whole thing of, yeah, but it's Amazon.
It wasn't so much it's Amazon, it's about the limitations of the engine at the time of development.
Well, this was people at the conference associates that we were talking to from their impressions of it. Some of them were stuff like, yeah, it's Amazon too. It's there, but after looking at some of the back end of it, it feels incomplete. But then again, this was like the very, very, very early stages of Lumberyard.
Yeah, I think like almost the first year they put it out there like that.
Yeah. And nowadays it's like Lumberyard it's finally shaping up to the way that people hope it to be.
It just wasn't it wasn't the big bang Amazon was hoping it would be.
Well, it was the entire confrontation about the ownership of it due to legal issues.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Although, no, it wasn't Star Citizen. It was It's funny. Elite Dangerous, I think, was one of the games they were showcasing on the Lumberyard floor the first time I saw them promote all those years ago. At least I think it was Elite Dangerous. Or maybe it was Star Citizen. Actually, it might have been Star Citizen. I might have just confused the two in memory.
I don't know, but it's like I think I remember Elite Dangerous being out before Lumberyard, but then again, I think it might have only been there for a short while.
So maybe it was Star Citizen.
I don't know.
There was
have
like
to double check.
Yeah, it's been so long. I can't even remember which year it even was that I'm thinking. It was. Yeah, I remember there was a lot of floor space dedicated to it. That's for sure.
It was a huge chunk of floor space that was sectioned off, so you couldn't even look into it. That's the thing I remember from seeing the Lumberyard was that it was sectioned off, and you only had one entrance. And like I think when I tried to see if they were allowing anybody in, they said, "Have you signed up on the list?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry, never mind then." And so it's like some of the CAs that I had spoken to, they were on the list because that's what their studio was looking into, so they were using them to peek into it.
Oh, okay.
But so it's like I could not tell from anything except for what's this giant, huge sectioned off that looks like it's a freaking like, why is there logs here? But I think that was it's always fun because like I think that was the year before or after VR was the VR presentations were happening.
It was after VR was already coming to its own.
Okay, so that was the year after we had that huge, like, look at the VR presentations, and the whole madness that ensued.
It still does ensue, right?
Admittedly, I'm not so sure since you've been the more actively attending, but I remember the year after, like, they were popular, but they weren't, like, that crazy popular.
It was still too new, you know? I mean, well, because a lot of... It doesn't happen often, but there is, like, cutting-edge stuff at that conference. And
yeah.
I think it was before Meta became Meta and started really pushing it. And right about the time we had, Valve's VR headset really popping off and the HTC headset popping off. So it was a different time.
Yeah. I'd still like a VR setup, but it's one of those, like, I don't have room.
Yeah, same.
You have room, Eddie. I hate to say this, but you can
Use
set
your
up a
bathroom.
VR.
I mean, I have room for it. I don't have a lot of it. Like, I told myself when I bought the house I was going to make a special space for it, and it never happened. So.
No, Eddie, you do have a special space. It's called your bathroom.
Okay, I gotta optimize this sheet making.
But no, it's like I'd like VR. I'd like to actually try it.
I don't
But-
know. I think we're still dealing with the fact that VR hasn't fully developed yet.
I still describe it as like it's the high end of gaming in the same sense of the, home theater where people actually try to set up a section of their house as a
Difference
theater.
between that and VR at the moment is that, well, technically the technology is improving. The home theaters at least have good movies to watch. I don't know if there really is a excellent VR title that really,
Certainly, there is. Even I know about them as someone who doesn't even play.
Beat Saber?
Beat Saber, one of them, absolutely. You got the Resident Evil 4, both versions of it.
Both versions of Resident Evil 4?
Yeah. There's a VR version of the old game, and now there's a VR version of the remake.
Oh,
And both utilize the VR very well. What was the other one? Half-Life Alex is very
Alex, I
prominent.
agree with. Yeah.
Your Five Nights at Freddy games are pop off in VR.
Oh, those two? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot of those pop off in VR. People really dig them in VR. Those are the ones top of mind. There's a few more titles these days, but those are the ones that are top of mind.
But so it's like I do like the idea of VR, but I still put it as it's like you have to invest in a lot of things to get it to be good for you, because
Absolutely.
and that's why I equate it to the home theater in the actual sense of the dedicated, like, you have a high-end projector, you get the 7.2 surround sound speakers that are all threaded into a what's audio tuner? Like, what's the giant huge thing for audio video? That's
I'm not sure what you mean.
well, it's basically like you have like
you
6 or
lost
7
me.
inputs. You have like 6 or 7 inputs. And then like you had all the audio goes through it.
Like an amp? No, not an amp.
Not an amp. I swear it's called a tuner.
I mean, a tuner's a very specific thing. I don't know if that's called tuner.
But no, it's like it has like anywhere from like 4 to 8 plugs for inputs. Nowadays it's mostly HDMI. And that also controls all the speakers.
Oh, it's a you said tuner, but I think it's called a receiver or top of receiver. But there's another name for it.
Maybe a receiver?
Because I used to. At one point, I thought I needed one, but I didn't.
Yeah.
If Heffley was here, he would know.
Yeah, we could bug Heffley later.
He knows about that kind of stuff.
Well, considering that technically he used to work for Best Buy.
Only technically, not literally.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm kidding.
I
It was
also
literally.
technically worked for Best Buy. The same department. I just didn't care too much about it because it's like a TV's a TV. Computer,
Yeah.
oh, that's a different matter. And then when
There
they
you go.
switch me over to computers, it's like, oh, hey, yeah, here you go. And
I'm
then people
home.
are just like, and then you get someone's like, can I get this? And they link to like, at the time, like a $3,000 to $4,000 desktop, but can I get it for 150? Or what's a comparable model for like $200? This, and I'd link a netbook. And it's like, but that's not meant for gaming. $200 is not going to get you anything for gaming.
Right.
It will run Minecraft, and they're like, but I want to run Call of Duty as well. It's like, well, you're not going to run it on $200.
Yep.
Well, I would ask them, do you want to run Call of Duty on the lowest graphics setting?
For $200 nowadays, at the time, they couldn't even run it on that, on what they were asking for. Nowadays, you could probably go online and find a cheap refurbished gaming laptop or a low-end laptop that could honestly play Call of Duty on the low-end settings.
Not connected?
Uh-oh. Satisfactory or?
No, I'm talking about the electrical signals.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I was gonna say like, no, I'm still alive. It's still working so far.
But when I mentioned that, like, to me, when I mention home theater, I don't think of like TVs and like speakers. I think of, is it a home entertainment or the actual trying to recreate a theater experience in the home?
Mhm.
Because that's why I think VR is like the home theater of gaming.
It's not a bad analogy. Like, because we're
Also, did you put a new hard drive in and we haven't noticed?
no, I don't have any more hard drives.
Okay.
I need to go hunting for them at some point.
Yeah. But so it's like, yeah, there you can still play games at home. But if you're going to go for VR, you're going to have to spend a good chunk of change. Not only for like a good headset, but a good rig for the gaming experience, as well as ensure that you have space to do so. Heck, I used to watch a YouTuber that rated VR stuff. And he actually said, no, I don't have this at home. I rent out an office space because of my YouTuber status to do all of this. I'm like, lucky bastard.
I mean, that does make sense when you're doing this stuff, because at the very least, you can then go home and not have people wonder about your nerd house or hovel.
Yeah. But and the one thing is that he did state is that if you're going to go for high-end stuff, you will have to set up a dedicated space. And generally, that's going to take up the equivalent of an entire office in a home. Because he said at a minimum, you'd probably want a good 10-foot by 10-foot square, like, open space on the floor. Because I think at the time, what's the one VR company that was trying to make that you had to put on special shoes and you got belted into?
Oh, the Omnia?
The Omnia, yeah. Because at the time, the Omnia was only able to be rented out by development companies and I think like large-scale entertainment attractions.
Right.
Because now you can actually buy or rent them personally. And so they can basically come out to your house, set it up, and you have it in the corner. And you can just run it in the corner and do stuff. But at the time, it was like very limited in how many people could get access to it. Admittedly, the reason why I've heard that they've gone to getting it out to the individual consumer is because quite literally they're actually losing money on the on the giant, huge entertainment, like, arcade places, trying to rent them out. Because
Well, you would think that they would make more money at an arcade place, but I'm guessing the problem is that we don't have enough arcades.
that, and the factor that because the arcades are multiple people at any number of times,
Hmm.
people or persons that handle the equipment uh, may or may not change hands quite a bit, so that essentially the equipment falls into disrepair, and they need to reach out to Omnia to repair it or replace the equipment. And so that's them shutting down that attraction, not making any money. Omnia has to get somebody out there to get it fixed or repaired or replaced. And so that's more time spent not making money versus one person that they train on making sure to keep it up, one person that they just have to focus on, versus an attraction that gets whoever they can hire to handle it and then go from there.
In other words, it's just too expensive and costly in terms of training, especially from the standpoint of people just walking in, and therefore they need like 15 minutes of the time just going through the instructions.
15 to 20 minutes to get people rigged into the thing, and hope that they don't try and like do something that they're not supposed to and break it. Because if I remember correctly, Omnia, you're belted into the harness, right?
Right, otherwise you'd fall out.
Because like the harness both acts as a support as well as a dedicated motion sensor for like basically like where your hips are, essentially, so that you're not running off the track, running off the slip pad that they use for, the motion sensors. So, admittedly, the VR guy also did a bunch of like stuff talking about motion tracking for VR chat. So,
Yeah, a lot of that. We see that with VTubers and all that all the time.
I mean, yes, the VR chat thing. Mainly because it isn't actually limited to VR, technically.
yeah. Maybe that's what I should do, is learn modeling.
There you go.
Instead of being a fucking driver, like somebody somehow, like, subconsciously wants me to be.
Good lord.
You just want to steal my rig when we get into the Mad Max situation, don't you?
I'm sorry, I tried to help. That's what I get for trying to help.
You try and help in the weirdest ways, Eddie.
Good lord, David.
And then there's that news that I found out this morning.
What you find out?
One of Gen 1 of HoloLive had their contract terminated.
Ooh, terminated, not graduated, terminated?
Terminated.
Ouch.
They publicly put it out there. Admittedly, it's not as bad as the previous issue with Russia.
Well, it's a bit muddy still. It's not as bad, but I think it's still pretty bad.
It's still bad, but
What's the target on bad here?
in this case,
The explanation given as to why she was terminated was because she was leaking company-sensitive information to third parties, same as Russia. Difference is that supposedly this was on accident versus intentionally after being warned. Though, then again, this is after they strengthened and made it a no-nonsense, you will not do this after Russia. So,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a confusing mess, I would say.
Admittedly, Mel was allowed to write an apology letter, but from my understanding, the situation was beyond the point at which it could be rectified, so Cover had to take action. So,
As I said before, I think it is in response of them making it a
no nonsense.
absolutely well. No, it's not so much no nonsense, but zero tolerance
Yeah.
towards the idea of this particular offense, you could say.
So, as much as Mel wanted to stay, Cover had to take action and cancel the contract. They did allow her to set up that apology letter, but that's that, essentially. And what's sad about it is that she was a Generation 1 VTuber.
Well, it wasn't just simply that she was Generation 1, it was the fact that she was actually looking forward to the year.
Yeah.
So,
And then this happened. That's unfortunate.
I don't know. It seems like Cover Corp usually has its worst time at the beginning of the year, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if she's going to do the same thing as Russia, see if she can start over again, or she might just decide that enough's enough, and she's just going to.
Does the VTuber like own their character? Like, is
No.
it?
No.
Ah, okay. So it's one of those things where
Cover Corp technically do own the character. It's like well, I don't know exactly how it works for Cover Corp. I know searching contracts do have some really awkward language and such that makes it difficult for certain VTubers to own their avatar, or certain confusion over ownership at all. I mean, that's usually what ends up screwing over a lot of indie VTubers if they sign on with some other corporation or something.
Is that corporation now owns their character?
And channel and everything else. I mean, I would think for Suisei, out of all of them, she probably still owns it. Because technically, the character was designed by her, and she was an independent VTuber before she joined Cover Corp.
Yeah.
So I could easily see her, out of all of them, being able to own her own character if she ended up having to leave.
Yeah. But that's just the news, and from the sounds of it,
unfortunate, ultimately.
yeah. We'll see what happens.
clearly, well, I mean, not clearly, I guess. What do I know? But it sounds like she didn't mean to do it. But
Well, it was possibly, I think it was probably accidental at this point.
Yeah.
But it was still a sort of thing of, because they have adopted a zero tolerance policy. That's what the terms I was thinking of.
Zero tolerance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They probably couldn't really. Making an exception at this point would possibly be more of a problem to the relevant parties that might have been hurt or damaged by this accidental
Yeah.
bit of information. So
I mean, what?
whose data was it again that was impacted?
we don't know.
We
Oh,
don't know.
Obviously, that would probably be even further, a point to what it is. We don't know what per se was, the actual
What was leaked? What
corporate
was
secrets or whatever. It might have been numbers. It might have been names. It might have been just personal information. It might have been, who knows what.
Right.
And as I said, I think because after Russia, they made it a very zero tolerance policy towards this and made sure everybody knew the rules. And unfortunately, it seems like she just accidentally ended up making a big accident. And
Right.
unfortunately, that is resulting in this. I don't know I don't think it was done out of maliciousness, but that's hard to say. And, people will talk. So,
I mean, it is idle talk, which means that there's going to be the rumor mill,
Right.
and the worst of the rumor mill. Because,
Got to take things with a grain of salt.
yeah. So, it's sad to hear it happen, but based off of everything, it sounds like it was not done on purpose. Whereas, I think in Rushia's case, it was.
well, Rusha was given a warning about it, as I understand.
Mhm.
Like, internally, she was, like, told, stop talking to this guy.
Yeah.
And
then
she did so anyway.
she ignored it.
Do you want to know how that trauma initially started?
Is there more? I guess there's more to it than just talking to someone who's social engineering.
Uh,
She was, okay, with Rusha's case, she was talking to a popular, I guess you could say, YouTube, drama
Romanticist?
person. Like, essentially, Drama Alert, but Japanese. And, well,
No.
the main reason why she was talking with him is because she was trying to dispel rumors of her supposedly being in a relationship.
Oh, okay.
Because, of course, that is the death of.
I was about to say, is that still a big deal these days?
That's still a big
for
deal.
the idol stuff, yes.
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean,
monstrously so.
I guess I guess I figured in the VTube world that wasn't a thing, but I guess I'm surprised it's. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised it
You would
is.
think, but unfortunately, because of how
Japanese pop idols work.
pop idols, virtual idols, whatever you want to call them, there's a sense of same sort of problem. It doesn't help that one of the terms that was taught to me, because technically I didn't really understand it until somebody said it, was the idea of unicorns. Unicorns in this
I do
case.
have more hard drives. Shit.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
unicorns in this case is referring to fans who want to believe in the fact that the idol that they are liking and fan of is in fact, a virgin and other such things. Illusions, if you will.
Right.
To believe in this sort of bizarre parasocial relationships that they have. But the problem is that certain idols lean into this persona. Like, they literally go after lonely men who clearly want to get the boyfriend treatment, essentially. And unfortunately, the thing with Rushia is that she heavily leaned into this with a fair amount of her fan base. So when it came to the question of whether she was living with a guy and dating them, they were pretty up in arms, and she was trying to dispel it completely. And unfortunately, the method that she was trying to do this was talking with, as I said before, essentially the Japanese version of Keemstar, who essentially was just simply using Russia for his own, views and such.
Like, what, were they collaborating in something? Is that
No,
what it
it
was?
was the fact that she was contacting him and trying to leak information through him, but he was sort of like just simply saying, "Hey, like Russia said this and this and this,
Oh, I see.
and
Okay.
deny
Like,
this and such."
like in the.
Essentially, she was unofficially talking to him on the down low, trying to cure this entire image problem that she was unfortunately dealing with.
And
But
just
Kind of like tabloids.
he was essentially just drumming up more drama, essentially.
Okay.
yeah.
But because she was already warned at that point to stop talking with this guy, stop contacting him, do not talk about, things that you have signed a contract to not talk about, to share with third parties, she was eventually terminated for that.
Sounds
Rather
like
harshly.
Sounds like the wrestling news I listen to every day.
I
Fascinating.
mean, yeah, there is a lot of kayfabe going on here.
Yeah.
Essentially. I mean,
Yeah.
idols and wrestling probably do share that they do happen to have a lot of frickin' kayfabe.
Mhm.
And while I think most fans are at least adult enough to appreciate the difference between the character and the person, there are those that go like, no, 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 they are totally the same person. You cannot be disambiguous of each other.
You cannot distinguish between the two.
Oh, like it's not even that you cannot distinguish. I feel like at that point you're purposely choosing not to.
Okay,
That's true. Oh,
I think
okay.
I am almost done. Just make a half ton more of these.
So then the person who allegedly did it on accident. Does that mean they were talking to someone who they didn't realize was press, or?
I don't necessarily think it may not even have to deal with the press. It might have been family. It might have been somebody they didn't realize was from it might actually have been the press. I don't know. It might have been any number of things. Again, to probably squelch down the information to make sure that, the relevant parties or key things that have been leaked are not easily traced, is because they don't want to, talk about what exactly has been leaked.
Well, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Won't help plugging a leak if all you do is show everyone the leak. Oh yeah, that's fascinating. No, I had not heard about any of that until you referenced it.
Well, that's because the recent one was today. Everybody found it.
No, not you. I'm trying to put down a new poll, and it keeps on going, no, no, no.
No poll for you.
No pull for you.
What the hell is this connected to?
But let's see. I'm trying to think of other news that has popped up.
I wrote a list of things. We'll look at it here in a second.
I know Pal World is obviously going to be the big talker, but that's because
Pokemon guns.
and it's been ever since its trailer, it's always been that. It's yeah.
Well,
and
this is the first time I've heard about it.
Really? I thought it shared
Yes,
the.
I've okay. The thing is that I've known that there's been other sort of attempts, like MMO Pokemon or alternate Pokemon and stuff, but this is the first time I've heard of this Pokemon with guns thing.
And slave labor.
You would think that I would.
Cannibalism.
What? Fake cannibalism?
No,
that-
actual cannibalism. You actually teach your pals to eat each other.
To survive.
Which, admittedly, Pokemon is now officially going, yeah, that's a thing. But they're
I
not
mean,
like
technically, they do have to acknowledge the fact that Circle of Life does exist.
The circle of life.
well, when you make a Pokemon called Miltank, and obviously that's where all the fucking milk in the world comes from is that Pokemon reason. And then they start doing things like Slowpoke Tail. But Slowpoke was a mutant.
I came all the way here. I have to go all the
Why
way
is
back.
Oh,
But yeah, no, there are Pokemon nowadays that
in here.
they now fully admit, yes, you eat Pokemon. Or you eat something that they can regrow, like Slowpoke Tail or Boffle Claw. Of things I've been seeing a lot of people talk about the recent DLC for Scarlet and Violet, and everybody's going like, why couldn't we get this at launch?
Oh, for the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet?
Yeah, the DLC, the second half of the DLC with the Indigo Disc.
I've heard things, but not too deeply. I didn't finish my playthrough of the game. I'm much behind.
I've done all of the Titans, so I am now slowly working my way through, trying to figure out if I should just continue doing the gyms, or if I should just take out fucking Team Star. Because both, the Indigo, because the Indigo Disc does actually deal with the aftermath of the disbanding of Team Star. Because you're dealing with, oh hey, new things dealing with the Academy, and the rival school.
Rival school.
Rival.
Love that game. Great fighting game.
Okay, making 60. Oh, I need to change these out because this is
wrong.
This is a Mark 1. I need to turn these into... I need to get... that's what I forgot to do. I need to turn these into Mark...
2s?
At least Mark 2s, hopefully Mark 3s.
Well, we are making supercomputers.
Yeah, but I need modular frames, turbo motors.
We got turbo motors.
Okay, where?
Right here. Next to supercomputers.
Need me 5. I need 5.
We've got
5?
got 78 anyway of turbo motors.
Okay, now I know why you need 5 to open up something, right?
No, I needed to build miners.
Do you already have the numbers? No, 1 left over.
I have 10 right now. I need 5 more.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Oh, hey, man, finished.
we're about to hit 80 in turbo motors, so yeah. Let's go check out the man.
Check out the man.
Alright. I'm at the man. Pure aluminum ingot.
I'm in a pipe, so I can't see anything. So I'm just taking your word for it.
Pure aluminum ingot is 2 scrap to 1 ingot.
No.
And it's just done in a smelter.
No. I mean, top of mind, man.
It frees up the silica, but it's about half as effective as the standard recipe.
Right, yeah, it's usually not worth it. We have plenty of places to go farm aluminum efficiently.
Next one is rigor mortar. Not joking about
Rigor
that.
mortis.
Rigor
It
mortar.
essentially uses 1 extra stator and rotor plus a
Crystal oscillator.
to make more motors.
And it's basically 50% more effective because it's 5 per minute to 7.5 per minute.
I like it, but the thing is that we're already kind of doing solid on motors. Like
And the last one is bolted iron plates.
bolted iron plates.
Iron plates plus screws make reinforced iron plates.
Awesome, perfect.
It's actually super good, but I really wish we had gotten it very early on in the game because it's it basically triples the standard recipe essentially.
Yeah, I think that's a good recipe. That has my vote.
Bolted iron plates.
Sure.
Wait.
I will pop in a hard drive here in a second. Got 2 more in my pocket. Dear Liza.
I think I can swap.
Okay. Let's see. I'm looking at the podcast list. I'm looking at some shorter things we can talk about that don't have to take up a podcast slot. How about that kid that beat Tetris?
That one I'm really impressed by, but then the way I learned about it was that some UK mom was being bitchy and moany
Yeah, some news anchor.
about
told the
video
kid-
games. He needs to touch grass. It's like,
Exactly. Yeah, shut up, lady.
God, ma'am, let the kid have his award. Like, let him just bask in an achievement that the whole community thought was only possible through tool assisted.
Right?
I mean, it's not like he's Billy Mitchell.
Yeah, he did it on a live stream in front of his small community, and he did it. I applaud
Okay.
the young man.
Yes, FRG officially applauds the man.
Fuck that anchor, and not in that way.
I wasn't gonna go there.
Alright, I am trying to find turbo motors.
Okay, let me.
There.
I have found supercomputers. Idle.
Okay, that's the one you're standing on. The bin to that side is where they're stored. Wait.
I am taking 12.
Okay.
Okay, where is the fused modular frames?
Fused modular
Oh,
frames. Follow the yeah, exactly.
Hello, what?
Follow the nitrogen.
Okay.
Admittedly, I need to fill up on aluminum casings here, but
I mean, I don't think there's much we can add in that case because I haven't bothered to watch it. I mean, I've seen everybody make their own statement on it, but I haven't watched those either. Eh.
Come on, motor. Come on.
I think a better question is the current state of the gaming industry.
Yeah, I feel like it's all we ever talk about.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like,
I mean, not
The
to
feeling
discourage,
of-
not
the
to discourage
feeling
it.
well, the AAA contraction, it seems like.
Are we seeing a AAA contraction?
Well, I mean, you have Unity, having to lay off so many people. There's a lot of other layoffs, I think, going on.
Okay, I guess it helps to know what you meant by contraction, but now I understand what you mean.
I
Yeah,
think there's a question of whether or not we'll be seeing, like, as many titles, whether they'll be trying to monetize them even further.
I think yes to both. I mean, the leaning out of companies is just, well, it's part of it. So on one hand, you have the issue where, for some reason, all these major companies thought that the spike we saw in the pandemic was here to stay, as if like, hey, maybe people are playing your games because they have nothing else to do. maybe anticipate that this is not going to be forever. They didn't. So that's part of it for sure. So, and then the other part is the ever-present. Well, the easiest way to make money and look good on the quarterly reports is if I fire a bunch of people. So let's do that.
Yes, that's the problem.
So I wouldn't even label it as like the industry constricting, and more as maybe going back to pre-pandemic levels.
Well,
Although history will tell us if it really goes that far or farther, of course.
I don't know how much the pandemic actually affected the gaming industry per se. I mean,
Absolutely
I
it did.
well, yeah, but where did the money go? Like, how much of that money that was like pandemic money went into Genshin or stuff like that?
Like,
Because like recently we saw like how much Genshin made. I was expecting it to still be in like billion-dollar territory. It's only like $500 million for the entirety of last year.
yeah, only $500 million. Like that isn't a significant number.
I mean, trying to remember, because like it, trying, because like is that before or after we've done the conversion from the yen, MPX?
I don't know. Well, first of all, Genshin wouldn't be yen.
Oh, no.
It would be a yuan. There would be
Right.
the entire problem of, you know, collating every single possible, you know, monetization that Genshin technically has, because it is Genshin is considered globally versus a particular local market, as far as we know. Like,
What?
don't
You missed
you
him.
see- What?
Sorry,
Oh.
Eric Foxy.
Automation.
Button Mason. Anyway, continue.
But I do think it's entirely dependent on, you know, a lot of factors. Like, well, unlike, say, certain other games. Okay, why is this not working?
Also, heads up, Eric Foxy. We have completed Sea of Stars. You are completely free to tune in on Friday. It's going to be bloodstained, just as a reminder.
Why are you not functioning?
So, are we talking gacha? The whole Nexon thing is absurd.
Oh, we haven't gone there yet. We're just talking about.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
let's,
the Nexon thing with Maple Story?
yeah, let's talk about
Unfortunately, I
that.
think that's not as much of a win as you would think it is. Because first of all, that's dealing with stuff from Nexon's practices over like a period of like years ago. It's only $9 million in total, so it's not like it's a huge payout for those aggrieved.
Do you mind summarizing the latest? Because I'm not sure I know the details on the latest.
Okay, the thing is that Nexon lost a suit against them for essentially lying about the rates in
Maple
Story. Okay, in Maple Story, there happens to be an item that you can roll to hopefully get, you know, better items out of. But what if that item never would pay out? Because it can't pay out. In other words, the rates on it were listed incorrectly, or perhaps maliciously wrong on purpose.
Ooh, yeah, that's a serious. What is this, Vegas?
Here we go. Run! I just mean it's nuts that they were rigging it. Didn't think that it was allowed.
Well, it isn't. That's why they got, you know, a fine against them. But, you know, $9 million isn't all that much in question compared to, you know, how much they may have made off of it.
Yeah.
Because this is OG Maple Story that we're talking about.
And given the factor of when it was supposedly happening, this was before a lot of the various gacha regulations, like listing your.
I think
I
Why
want to
is
say
this
listing
doing this?
listing accurate rates. But then again, I could be wrong because I think there were some things that you had to list the active rates on something, even back in that day.
Okay, fine. Which is what's happening here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to MPX's point, if
The
they
point
paid
that
nine,
I'm trying to make is that the fine isn't all that much
Yeah.
compared to what probably they actually made off of.
exactly. Like it
They
could
like
very
gangsters.
it could very well just been hit the cost of doing business for them. Like, oh well, let's make this. It'll
Why are you not
cost us
working?
9 million, but we'll
Where?
make 27 or something. I don't know, some made up number.
Yeah. I mean,
Which is pretty.
fine is trivial in comparison, yeah. Which, yeah, that I fully agree. Like the fine, 9 million. That feels like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
I mean, ooh.
I don't even know what you do with all that.
Why are you not pumping?
Well,
What are you trying to connect?
A pump that's supposed to be pumping.
Oh, yeah. I always have to fiddle with those. I don't know the rhyme or reason about them. Sometimes I have to literally just take them out and then reinstall them, and then that fixes it for some reason.
Long ago, I swore off the majority of gacha stuff. Just let me buy the thing I want.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
wait
mean,
till the gacha dies, and then you can and then see if somebody out there has preserved the game that allows you just to play the game, and just they've modified the code so that you get the paid currency daily. Wait, what?
That wasn't me.
that was me.
What? What were
The-
the other options?
The oscillator was the best option, hands down.
Okay.
What were the other options?
Crystal rod and some other ingot.
Oh.
Okay. Like, was it pure ingot or like pure copper ingot?
No, it was something else.
Okay.
I already forgot, but it was not better than what we already had.
I don't think we've gotten pure copper ingot yet,
Maybe.
because that would probably be really good. Because that makes me, that would make a lot more copper. I mean, I know for a fact that, like, after Genshin, after Hoyoverse closes Genshin, or Honkai Star Rail, there's people out there that already have an access to creating the client, and they're creating archives of various events and things, so that they can create their own private server for them.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the internet for you.
Private servers with the same XP and drop rates are fun times, true. And trust me, there are people that are probably going to go like, yeah, sure. Can we add in the functionality of replaying events? Because... here's a fun thing. Yes, I'm going to fully admit that I played this game. I play Nike, Goddess of Victory.
That can't be the first time you've admitted that.
Yeah, I don't think, at least on stream. But the one thing that I like about Nike, not mentioning certain things, is that you can quite literally replay the actual like events to get their parts of the story, because they are like, so far all the side events that happen every so often are canon to the main story. Admittedly, where they happen is a little weird at times, but they all play into the main storyline. and you can go back and redo the story and re-listen and see what other choices you make. Whereas other gacha games, oh, you did that story piece? Good. Now move on to the next one. But I want to see what the... No, move on to the next one.
Whoa.
You're done with this section. Move on. But I want to see... No.
Not for you. No more. You made
Yeah.
your choice.
Or, like... And this is the thing, is that Hoyoverse and its drop rates are abysmal. Because the way they handle pity mechanics...
Wait, what?
Right. Okay, to explain for non-gacha people, pity is generally, let's say that you...
Okay, I heard something else. Thank you for repeating the phrase.
Pity mechanic, pity, is that, let's say that you saved up because you knew that this character was going to be on the banner next time, and you really wanted that character. For whatever reason. So you saved up. You got everything ready. You had, like, a good chunk of, good chunk of stuff saved up to roll for that. Oh my!
Okay,
No
there.
Eric Foxy.
I think this is finally working.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
You did bit.
I was suddenly
Out loud.
I was suddenly interested in playing Genshin Impact, but not anymore.
Well, that's because Genshin already has those. But Nikkei has it in much more bigger volume. But
The whole volume.
but is the fact that you save up, let's say, like 200 rolls. Because the pity mechanic is like, let's say you roll 200 times, and not one time do you get the character that you're rolling. What the pity mechanic is basically, as soon as you hit roll 200, essentially when you hit roll 200, you are either guaranteed that character or guaranteed a tier 5, top tier, whatever mechanic they're using, SSR, for rolling. The way Hoyoverse is set up, Genshin and Hunter Star Rail is a scaling method. I hate this. Because it's not a hard cap. It's a weird the more you roll, the more this hidden meter that's buried in the code slowly rises up.
Is it like calculus, reaching limits without actually touching it?
Yeah, it's basically, it's like the whole approaching the limit but not actually approaching it.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Kids, this is why you do math. You learn math in school, so you learn how gacha mechanics work.
I mean, so you can actually do the percentages.
yeah.
That,
Good God, I keep hitching.
but no, the
First-
Nexon thing I think is unfortunately not that big of a win in the scope of what it is.
Yeah. Because
I mean, it'd be another thing if they somehow managed to catch, say, Genshin Impact fudging that, because that would be a much larger lawsuit and controversy.
I was under the
any-
impression it was a linear increase.
Which one? It is sometimes for other games, right?
Hoyoverse's version of the pity mechanic.
I don't understand the pity mechanic for Hoyoverse games, so
My understanding is that it slowly increases, well, like 0.001% per roll. And so the more you rolls, the more it starts factoring in. Versus, let's say, AT. We're just going to use, they call it a gotcha AT. And let's say their banners outright state, hey, you roll 10 times, you get a ticket that you can redeem for either the weapon.
Why are you stopping? You freaking stupid pump! You need to be pumping.
And so
The
if
reason
you
why
roll...
I'm backing up is because it's not pumping.
Pump it.
I don't understand how this is happening.
You want us? We don't want us to go and take a look. Sandy, to check it.
Because it doesn't make any sense. That's the reason why. I have this working in my own playthrough.
I'll go check on him real quick. I might be thinking of Torchlight Infinity's play. Torchlight Infinity is a gacha game. Yeah, Torchlight Infinity is not Torchlight 3.
Oh, I didn't know Torchlight had a gacha.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
there's
found
a
out
reason
that,
why
like,
nobody liked it, you know.
Makes sense.
But essentially, percent changes going up by like 0.2% each time, such that you're hit 100% at 97 pulls or so. Yeah. Admittedly, I'm not sure about how Genshin's works or Hoyoverse's in general.
Why is the thing's not flowing? Just don't understand.
You already tried disconnecting them and reconnecting them?
I've done that multiple times now. Okay, so that's the reason why it's giving me a screw up there. Okay, now I think I understand why things are getting annoying. I'm just gonna
It's the angle?
No, I'm gonna have to reattach where everything's connected.
Okay.
Time for another mom.
But yeah, no, the whole thing is with using AT, this mysterious gacha. They set it up so that you hit 10 pulls, you get a ticket that allows you to choose either the support unit or the weapon.
All right, gentlemen, let's take a quick look at the map.
And most importantly, this happens every 10 rolls.
Yeah. I did enjoy my time playing TLI though, but likely won't go back since I'll have Lost Epoch 1.0 soon. Ooh, that's something we can do about Lost Epoch.
I won't play a gacha game until Kingdom Hearts comes out with theirs again. I will play that. I won't.
Yeah.
No lies. I'm gonna play it. I'll try not to spend money on it, but I will play it.
All right, let's take a look here. We got the turbo motor again. Fertile uranium again. I think this is the one we were looking for previous stream, and then steel rods, which it's better, but I think fertile uranium maybe.
Yeah, that would be good. That would help us kickstart our nuclear power desires if we're ready to go there.
Not really, because it requires nuclear waste, uranium specifically.
Yes.
Which that's only generated by using uranium.
Yes.
Okay, I think I found out what the problem was.
We're running
essentially-
fertile uranium, right? Sorry, I want to solve this before we do anything else.
Fertile uranium is used for making plutonium.
Yeah, so we're going to use it, right?
To put in the shredder.
We can't put that in the shredder.
We can't put nuclear waste in the shredder.
Right.
We can put the fertile uranium in the shredder.
I tried that. It cannot.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's still radioactive. and
Okay,
the specific
I
rules are
found
that.
out exactly what was the problem.
What was the problem?
My pumps were acting against each other. In other words, they were pushing against each other in terms of pumping.
Oh,
And therefore, they were essentially neutral.
you know,
Ew.
I guess it makes sense that he would do that. Just yeah,
Well, you don't expect certain physics interactions like that unless you muck around
right.
terribly like this.
Look around and find out.
Let's see here. Oh, hey. My guilty game as service currently is Fortnite of all things, but because of Lego and music, not the BR.
The Lego is supposed to be pretty fun. I've been meaning to try it. My nephews rave about it.
I've heard that the Lego version of Fortnite is really amazing because somehow it just feels like playing a Lego survival game.
You know, the one
Actually,
that they tried to do years ago.
yeah. I've actually had some people describe Lego Fortnite as the Valheim of Lego, and I'm like, really? You're willing to give it that good of an honor? But no, apparently a lot of people said, yeah, no, that's a good comparison. I'm like, oh, hey, if a lot of people are agreeing on it, maybe. Oh boy, what's happening this time?
I don't have metal poles.
The rod. Spare the child.
No.
Then don't spare the rod.
Because I just spent so much time dealing with water pressure. Falling trees is the best part of Valheim.
It's not far off from Valheim, but falling trees won't kill you. Yeah, but you can set up so many good traps by just knocking a tree and then the troll knocks it over and smacks it in his own face. Smack it.
I don't know if we ever successfully did.
No, we've never done that because half the time, we find a troll on the edge of the forest, and immediately he pulls up a log, and we're like, "Oh shit!" And he chucks the log at us, and we become the smacky.
Become the pole.
We become the child. But no, I mean, pity mechanics can range anywhere from, like, I think somebody mentioned that when Genshin finally implemented pity mechanics, you had to do 400 pulls before the supposed whoever was on the banner
Guaranteed pity.
guaranteed pity.
Jeez.
Well, a lot of this is about just how... First of all, I think there's just something mechanically wrong with how Genshin deals with characters. The fact is that because it's so character-driven, many people will happily, spend money on their favorite character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And because their character is locked behind the gacha, is just really makes it incredibly scummy in that sense. Because I think a lot of other character-driven gacha games and such, especially action ones, tend to have it so you can just purchase the character outright. Yes, you still have to roll for the supporting stuff, their equipment, but it's not nearly as like, oh, hey, I couldn't get them, and now they are impossible to get.
Not just you, Eric Fox. It looks like my system hiccuping a little bit.
I'm getting buffering. Not sure if it's on my end though. Just repeating that.
Well, no, it's not just you, Eric Fox.
But yeah, it's one of those, like, everybody has quotations figured out their own pity mechanics. Some of them are really nice. Some of them are, because I will state Nikkei's pinning mechanic is okay. If you've rolled 200 times on the rate up banner, aka the big character that's just come out and haven't gotten them, you can then purchase them from the character shop for all these gold tickets. And you get these these essentially trade-in tickets every time you do the rate up banner. So you can save them for later ones if you want to, if you really want to get this character or that character. But whereas like Honkai Star Rail or Genshin, it's like, oh, you've rolled like 400, it's like 300 times, and still haven't gotten the character. Well, you gotta keep rolling, man. Gotta keep rolling.
No free lunches here.
Oh, you need to buy paid currency? Well, okay, yeah, sure. You'll still have to roll the 400 times. Admittedly, I will state that
Come
Hoyo,
on, stop freaking.
with Hoyoverse, they do have like this paid universal currency for all Hoyoverse accounts. So, like, let's say you are playing Honkai Third Impact, but also playing Genshin Impact or playing Honkai Star Rail. And it's all on the same account, same Hoyoverse account. And you buy this premium currency that you can convert to the local premium currency in each game. So it's like, oh, yeah, I'm not really interested in what's currently on rate up on, let's say, Third Impact or Star Rail, but Genshin has that one character that I really want. You can then convert this universal premium currency to local one to try and get that character.
Yeah, but that's sort of the same problem of a lot of the currencies in gacha games, is to make it obfuscated on exactly how much you're paying for.
Yeah.
Versus like a clear translation of,
Mm-hmm.
dollars or whatever currency you care for, or at least relatively straightforward.
Promo is powerful and kind of scummy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agree with that one.
And they know it. The developers know it.
I mean, why do you think? Technically, you'd say first release week is also kind of FOMO, so for like AAA stuff. So it's not just limited to gacha games in a sense. I mean, take the Call of Duty crowd. Already filled. Almost filled. Okay, I think I've successfully made this thing work.
Yay!
I am making, let me see if properly. $720 aluminum ingots a minute. So if you need aluminum ingots, I'm your man.
Nice. Yeah, there seems to be a little bit of a weird hit.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to get disconnected at this rate.
Yeah, I'm still showing bad connection. I don't know what it is. I hit the internet in my area.
Karks Communications is full of Karks.
Hey, so much for the shitty internet.
It's all cocked up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, with the factor that I'm getting buffering just trying to access like certain things, it's like I'm hitching so bad. Yeah, something's going down. I don't know what.
Yeah, it's something with the network because it's just low latency. I can see it here that it's low latency, but
Latency 5,000 milliseconds.
Unfortunately, I'm not getting much of an option what to do about it. Outside of disconnecting and reconnecting my internet.
Restarting the modem and router. If only we had access to proper fiber.
If only.
If only.
Well, now they started advertising 2.5 gig speeds, and no. I can't even get my 1 gig to work. Why would I trust you with 2.5?
Yeah, it's been like 1K a month for that internet, and you barely get 500 megabytes for speed.